So it's better there?
Yeah, I think so. How you doing? That's good. Thank you. Good morning again, everyone. Thank you. Welcome. Good morning, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Okay. Before I begin the talk about the teaching, I'd like to do some prayers. Join. If those people knows, please join with me. Otherwise, I do short prayers. So while I'm doing the prayer, you all can meditate, just relax in a natural state of mind. So can we all do it together anyway? Sorwadi so Chimirin, the Tatan Rabbi Brasanjelu, Shizokum Yidolaji, the Temioza Yamrato, Osalon Chinam, Jimin Bayala Sorwadi, Sadarja was a Boshaval and the trouble, although Shawara, some of Jadonhara, Jimmy, Young Polo Sorwadi, Donjambrion, son of Yagumbal on the puppet. No, don't you the Jazong Avenger, Bahanja, and Angelo Sorwa, and the Monzer and the Mount, the Kimi on Tai, Tadapin, you just know. Jibraki Dorjela Sorwa, the Jimmy, and Jason, the Jason, the Babanam, the Yukan, the Rakumeto, Masono, the Partizan, Hajadorian, with Arabia, here now, right? Kaji Yala Sorwa, the Yondesaya, Kandanyana, Yakadi, Sajakuna, what's our Lamashala Soma, doesn't know. Nello to Guajeva and Yellow, to Guada Jutro, to Gigi Jutro, and they said, don't let them but the Jeffy Lamas and Yellow, Loches on the water, Chilan and the water, Lantro and the water. Tony Javras and Yellow, the Zoro, Kandas of Jetonga Jig and other Kilometer, Bakasa, and the Tomachi, Charmi, Samarando, Badam J and the Layakan and Lodon of Jigatrunda and Mayakan and Roa Kunjidana Jetta. Tam Jiga of Daga Chidi and those Martin the Chidin, yes, to me, Sinjinam Jetun, the dungeon, Tamanam Jinu, the Sinjinam Jetun, the dungeon, Tamanam Jinu, Sinjinam Jetun, the dungeon, Tamanam Jinu, the Tartu, so Yerokun Jetam, Sahiya Bakuna, some which one number. Mahongar Bakun, the Jevara. Again, yes, I do. I have more than that. Now today I bought my mega books, mega book, and plus all this. So thank you. I think I'm going to use this because book is a little bit difficult. I have to turn the page back and forth. So I just follow the modern technology. And I'm a little kind of shy, hesitated to use this, but I think it's the best. So I'm going to follow with that. So it's all intubating, which is kind of very easy. This is kind of like very difficult. So again, today, as we've been last night talking, and again, of course, you all practitioners. I think many of you already practicing meditating and studying in the teaching of the Buddha, and also contemplating on the teaching, and then meditating in the practices. Those are the three principles of the way to engaging, to activating, and actualize exactly with nature, the beauty of the nature, externally, inwardly, in our own mind. And again, always in the teaching said, and as well as every masters always also said in the books and the teachings, before we begin to practice this, we should always strengthen our beautiful motivation, because motivation is really the ground of everything, where we started. In the Buddha's teaching, of course, there's so many things externally, so many things externally, innerly, and so many between, but the most important is the motivation of the mind. And today we're going to discuss about the mind, and then we're going to touch to the nature of the mind. And therefore, again, always in the teaching said, strengthen the joy and appreciations. Joy and appreciations. This is the foundation, our ground. And with that beautiful joy and appreciation, then also strengthen kindness, compassion, thought for all living beings. And that is known as bodhicitta. I mean, you all know, basically, many of you know. This is bodhicitta. And what is that bodhicitta? As I said, kindness, compassion, loving kindness. That is the bodhicitta. If we translated that word into English, bodhicitta, mind of enlightenment, or mind of a Buddha. So love is the mind of a Buddha, compassion is the mind of a Buddha, and wisdom is the mind of the Buddha. Together with joy and appreciation is the mind of a Buddha. That is our or your nature. My nature, your nature. If we like to change our direction in environment and the destination, and like to be more kind of beautiful, kind of calm and peaceful, nice and happy, we should touch to that goal. That is the most powerful solution and powerful way to igniting meaningful of lives, joy and appreciation. Many people kind of think, oh, that's a symbol, kind of ordinary, that. But that is the most essence. Whatever name we call it, ordinary or simple or this basic, all this, whatever the word we use, that is the most important. The most important. Without the basic, we won't be here. We won't be as what we are now. Therefore, strengthen joy and appreciation, and kindness and compassion for all living beings. Really, that is what can be also contributed to the world, and beyond the world, something that we can gift, make something different. To make the difference in the world, started from our heart, not from outside. Start with. We should be more practical, how we should start. So therefore, bring out those all beautiful thoughts. And together with then, the reality nature of the way things are. The Dzogchen teaching always mentioned, teaching everything is in three kaya status. Nirmakaya, Sambhokaya, and the Dharmakaya status. Also bring that realization, bring that environment. Even if we don't understand exactly immediately what means three kaya, but at least to open the door of our heart, not blocking of that realization, shine or the dawn from our heart. Open our heart, and then we begin to discover. So therefore, always in the beginning of the practices, the teachings or studies, whatever we do related with the Buddha teaching, so correct your motivation. And that is what we began started. With that thought, and then we began the Dzogchen teaching. And this Dzogchen teaching is the teaching particularly taught by the great master, His Holiness Dongyal Rinpoche. And the Dzogchen practices, again, in the general kind of understanding of the Dzogchen practices, always in the teaching mentioned the foundation of the Dzogchen, and then view of the Dzogchen, and meditation of the Dzogchen, and the result of the Dzogchens. Those are the four principles of the when we engaging or when we practicing the Dzogchens. First of all, I also mentioned in the teaching, if you have this book, already mentioned by His Holiness Dongyal Rinpoche, first it is ground. Many times in the Tibetan, also translated into English, basic foundations, basic or the foundation or ground. Ground of Dzogchen is our nature of the mind, your nature of the mind. The ground is known as sometimes in the Buddha teaching, Tathagata Garbha, Buddha nature. That is our nature. That is we all inherited. With having this, because of that, now we're going to practice it. We're going to discover that Buddha nature, that qualities, and let it shine or bring out forth. That is known as then we begin practices. When it comes to the practices, then the most important is view. View is the view. View is the understanding of what we're going to practices. What is practices? What is really means the meditation or practice? That view, always the teaching said, if you look to this teaching, ever you have this booklet, and the view is explaining it's explaining in the page, I believe this what page is. I really don't know exactly this page number. What? Is it Roman 24? Roman numbers. Oh yeah, this is true. It's Roman numbers, so I don't know. Sorry, it is. So is it page 24? 29. Page 29, explaining by His Holiness Dongyal Rinpoche, explaining the views. Now, view. When we're talking about the view is that is what we're going to meditate. When we practice meditate, we should have good view. Not just a good view, we should have confidence on the views. Therefore, we establish it, we should should establish it, we should discover what is views now. The view of the meditation, or what we're going to behold, what we're going to look forward. View is the nature of our mind. We're going to look to that. That is our meditation and practices. In the Dzogchen teaching, or in the general Buddha teaching, in the Mahayana, in the Vajrayana teaching, always mentioned, mind is empty. Now we have to discover that mind is empty. Empty. And that is, I went last night briefly. I'm sure many of you know that. But again, I go a little detailed because that is so important. Let us come over this. We're going to look how mind is empty. We heard so many times emptiness. Generally in the Buddha's teaching, everything is emptiness. Everything, whole 5 aggregates are emptiness. Everything is emptiness. There's nothing is not empty. Emptiness is also not just a kind of completely blank status. Emptiness is arising status. Emptiness is a completely fullness status. For those reasons, what in the teaching said, form is emptiness, emptiness is form. That's how really the nature is. This understanding of the true nature of the form and the emptiness, what in the Buddhism known as usually relative truth and absolute truths. Relative truth is all these arising things, form, sound, and as well as feelings and taste, touch, all this is relative truth. On the other word, 5 aggregates are all relative truths, like form aggregates, perception aggregates, conception aggregates, and feeling aggregates, and consciousness aggregates. All those are forms. These forms are not solid, truly existing. For that reason, it is known as relative truths. In this way to arise in these forms, not just arise by itself. It needs so many supporters, so many helpers, so many connected back and forth. That system is known as, in Buddhism, interdependent coordination. All is interlinked. All is connected. There's nothing, one items or one subparticles not arising with different supporters or different connections. All is arising. Where is it arising? It also arising without solid existing, solid, true existing. And for that reason, in Buddhism, relative truth is illusions. Relative truth is like display, and is called relative truths. Relative truth, because they are now core existing. It's magical display. In the Dzogchen teaching or the Vajrayana teaching, often used is magical displays, or is like dream-like displays. All this is what. That did not mean is not going to functioning, is not going to work. Relative truth, it will work exactly as it is, as should be. And when we dream, for example, when we're dreaming, in the dream, all dream is working exactly as it is. Even though it's not solid, it's substantially existing, everything is works. Subject and object, and communication, back and forth, and hope and fears, all that really existing. It didn't mean it's solid existing, it's a dream. Same as this relative truth is like similar as like dreamless. But nature of this relative truth is emptiness. All is empty. There's no substantial solid existing. If you investigate, analyze, or in kind of those microscope levels, if you look to that, there's nothing really substantial solid existing at all. For that reason, is known as emptiness. Not just only microscope level, but even at this gross level, it is all empty forms, according to the teaching. There's no really substantial solid existence. So that's the way the things are. When we discover that exactly as it is, in Buddhism, known as discover the nature where things are. This discovery nature, we're not going from outskirt, from the object to discover this nature of the emptiness. According to Dzogchen, we're going to from our mind to discover this emptiness nature. And looking to the direct to the mind. And as I said in the teaching often, mind is the most powerful. Everything what we decided, everything what we do, is really controlled by the mind. There's nothing else. That everything what we do is all start the mind. For that reason is what great teacher Buddha Shakyamuni said, mind is the principle. Mind, everything what we do, all is started with by mind. Mind. So we look to that mind. Now in the Dzogchen levels, we're going to look, also we're going to see this, how exactly where the mind is, how the mind is. And we should have confidence on the way things are. When we meditate, we're not going to meditate vague kind of presumption levels. We're going to meditate with the confidence, with the joy, with the appreciations. That is what we're going to meditate. Therefore, to finding view with confidence is very important. Now in the Dzogchen teaching, nature of the mind is empty. And empty, and also nature of the mind is clarities. Often said, this clarity and emptiness is completely a union status. That the really Dzogchen said, Dzogchen teaching said. And that is our nature of the mind. Empty and clarities. Clear, or even sometimes can be translated clear light luminosity status. Clear light luminosity status and emptiness. These two are inseparable states. This is so therefore to find out exactly first we find to emptiness as it is. Therefore in the Dzogchen teaching, always looking to the three ways. Object and subject levels. Object level, for example, where mind is stayed in the past time, where mind is staying now, where mind is going in the future. So that is object. Where state, where is, and where is going. Object level example. If we look to the object level, where mind state, there is baseless. Baseless, we can't say any place to state. Where is the mind now? Also, is baseless. There's nothing really to say. Mind state these places. And where mind is going, destination is also baseless. So therefore, we examine through object level. Past, present, and future is all free, all empty. There's nothing to explain. This is where investigating, analyzed by our own intelligence, not just simply follow by the Buddha taught that. Buddha said that, yes, Buddha said those, Buddha taught those. But just not only following that, by our intelligence, examining those three places. Where state, where we're going to, where staying, where gonna go, or where we're going. The three distinct places. It's totally free. So object level is empty. Another word. There's nothing to really we have to hesitate, is not. Its object level is empty. Now subject level, we'll think. Who state? Who is staying? Who is going? Ask to my mind. Again, to the investigating to the past of the subject, investigating on the present of the subject, investigating of the destination of the subject. Again, we investigate and analyze that. What we find? There is no subject. Subject is free or empty in the past. Subject is empty in the present. Subject is empty in the future. So in a 3 level, both to make sure mind is empty, what we heard so many times. Now we're looking to ourselves. This is not mythological stories, not fairy tales. We're looking by ourselves, by the direct perceptions of our own intelligence, not manipulated by or said this and that. We believe on this. When we meditating, according to Buddhism, believing is nothing to do. That is not going to work. We have to find exactly as it is. Exactly as it is. This is what in the teaching often known as certainty wisdoms. Certainty wisdoms, if you have, then it's sure. Then is no need doubt and hesitation. Oh, that might be, this is, and all this kind of consumptions, the presumptions, and the theories, and all this. That is not the we have to be in the Dzogchen level, have to be exactly accurate with confidence. Confidence and certainties. This confidence is also not just the confidence of the believing confidence. It is exactly, I looked, I investigated, I went through this. I looked, and there's nothing that say is existing. It's empty. By subject level, I investigate it, analyze it. It is free or empty. And by object level, is empty. Every level. To break sure that understanding. This. That is known as the, when you discover exactly is, then is empty. Then is as it is. Truly is emptiness. Truly is empty. Emptiness, understand, is so important, particularly where we are completely kind of ruled by a regiment of the dualities. Duality is so solid, so strong regiment, this and that, have to be that way. That is the way duality is. But therefore, to break down, to antidote of this solid duality, realization of the emptiness is very important, very crucial. Then it breaks down. And the duality itself is mind. There is no independently existing duality beside the mind. This duality is mind. Grasping is mind. All our emotions are mind. There's no independently, separately existing those individuals at all. All is mind. So reality, grasping means we are holding something is not existing. Reality is. We are grasping something is not existing. It's not there. For that reason, the greatest teacher, Buddha Shakyamuni, Guru Pema Samba, every those great enlightened beings may always make it is illusions. Grasping is illusions. Grasping, clinging is illusions. We clinging, grasping to the illusion, then we are getting the consequences. All those challenges, all those difficulties coming one after another by this grasping and clinging. Who created the grasping clinging? No other than one's own self, one's own mind. Mind created, mind holding, and mind is beginning to experience that. And then more grasping, more clinging, more holding, and then we kind of clutch between that, all that hope and fears. That goes on and on. Therefore, to make sure it is empty, is realization or the understanding of the emptiness is so important. And that is a view. Mind is empty, totally empty. Nature of the mind is empty. Empty. But then, Mind is also in the Dzogchen teaching often said, and as well as other Buddha teaching too, not just Dzogchen teaching, Panjaparamada teaching, Mahamadra teaching, all the teaching. Mind is also clarities, the luminosity clarity status. What is clarity? What is this luminosity status? It's our intelligence. Even we investigate and analyze in the three different subject level, object level, there's nothing substantial, solid, existing. Mind we found, yet all our intelligence here, all this like distinctive sparking thought and conceptions arising from nowhere is arising. Where? What is that? That is known as clarity. These are known as clarities. Each of a clarity, each of a conceptions are also empty. This is nothing changed of the nature where it is. It's totally empty, totally speechless state, everything. For that reason, clarity, emptiness is in union status, inseparable union status. This emptiness is known as also in another Buddha's teachings, absolute truths. This is absolute truth. This is nothing going to that change as it is. No, thank you. So that is the view that we should kind of establish that view, or that means we should have that. Once we establish that, now we're going to put that into the practices. So now that is a general kind of understanding of the view. So now we went through briefly about the mind is emptiness. Emptiness. Once we have the understandings that, then we're going to put in the practices. That is then generally here again. If we go, is page 29. If we look that one, and so here he's on this Dongyal Rinpoche said, first you have to see. So I think I already mentioned this, but however again if we go over this first you have to know exactly where the nature is. When you behold that nature, then you have to maintain that. And that nature here, again, His Holiness Dongyal Rinpoche is pointing out of the exactly nature of the mind, of the emptiness, what we're discussing. That emptiness. This emptiness is not emptiness in mind, is self-awareness, self-arising awareness, or self-born awareness. Fresh, naked nature. Fresh, naked nature. Is that means, fresh means it's not diluted, not obscured. It's exactly as it is, fresh. And when you behold that nature, cannot be explained by word. Therefore, in here said, can't say is speechless. Nor cannot be indicated by any examples, except the sky, many times used. Sky is the examples. But sky is, the space is just blank emptiness, blank spaces. So therefore, Rupa is full of clarity, full of qualities, full of beautiful natures. It's not just blank spaces. Therefore, there's nothing really have any example that can completely become as suitable examples. Since this nature is never changed in any circumstances. It's not become in the midst of the samsara, it's not become the worse, or not become bad, or become devaluated or downgraded. It never went. And also, when we become the Buddhahood, or when we discover this complete, as enlightenment, it is also not become better, or not become become better than before. Nature remains as it is. And that is in the great master Buddha Shakyamuni, or the teacher said, in his Panjaparamada teaching said, nature remains the same, nothing will change. He said, when a Buddha came this world and gave the teaching of the nature of the mind, of nature of the truth, that did not improve where the nature is. When Buddha did not came in this world and did not give any teachings, that not also the kind of disqualified of the nature. Therefore, nothing is changed. And for those reasons, also in the Heart Sutras that I think many of you chant, nothing increased, never decreased. No increase, no decreased. That is what the nature of our mind is. Never increased, never decreased. Never increased of any good qualities or anything. Never decreased from the quality what inherited is the same. That is our nature of the mind. Nature of the mind, it is as it is. As it is. It is also known as pure from the beginning. It's completely pure. It's never born and never ceases. It's never that happened. Therefore, it's never diluted, never liberated, never let it. So this is what the nature of the mind is. Also, this nature of the mind is beyond the existing and not existing. Beyond existing and not existing. Existing, what that means? Existing, not existing, is conceptions. It's the mind. Mind is regulating. That means duality mind is regulated, such as existing, non-existing. Nature is free from the dogma of the duality or regulation of the dualities. So therefore, it is free from existing and non-existing. Also, nature of mind has no partialities. No partialities. Or it is good that time. Nature of mind is good that time. Or is not good that time. I mean, there's nothing really can be. It's no partialities. It's not divided by anything, anyways. It's the pervasive nature. For that reason, great master Garab Dorji said, one of his teaching said, nature of mind is like sky. There's no boundaries, no limitations, infinite as skies. That is what really Garab Dorji used. So this is our nature of the mind. And it is free from all the complexities. That is what it is. And so yet, even though it is pervasive nature, all is completely pervasive and free from the explanation and free from all the regulations, free from existing, non-existing, yet all the quality of the mind or nature of the mind is right there. All the qualities. What is quality known as? Qualities such as loving kindness, our compassions, our joy, our appreciations, our understandings, our all intelligence right here, right with us, or right with this mind. And we start again thinking, where is that those qualities? Of that, we cannot put in the dogma of the dualities. It's a pervasive nature, totally. Each of, for example, our intelligence, wisdom, love, compassion, all that, so beautiful, so vividly arising, we can benefit. It benefited us, it benefited all beings. But yet, where that is? Where is that in the mind? Nothing to explain. It's beyond the world, beyond the categories, and beyond of the any kind of like characteristics. It is that this love and compassion is also pervasive natures. As mind, as we're talking, mind is like pervasive nature as the sky. Nature of the mind is. Similarly, love and compassion, wisdom is pervasive as the sky. Pervasive. There is no boundaries. For that reason, for example, Sambhogaya Buddhas, or the enlightened those Buddhas, don't have any boundaries of the love and compassion and wisdom. It's pervasive. Also, not just only love and wisdom and compassion, but that comes with all the richnesses. Richness qualities of the every those Sambhogaya luxuries according to the teaching. All is right here. Every luxuries of the enlightened beings right within this nature of the mind. Right there. For that reason, we often heard in the teaching, all the enlightened beings like the Pure Land and the luxuries of the Sambhogaya, all is wisdom displays. You see, these are wisdom displays. So that is the wisdom display of the luxuries, or luxuries of wisdom displays. Everything, beauty, qualities, proportions, and dimensions of Sambhogaya, those luxuries, is all is richness of this nature of the mind. There's no end. For those reasons, in the Dzogchen teaching, spontaneously inherited all the richnesses. That is right with our nature of the mind. Even though it is, when we investigate, analyze, is empty, there's nothing to say, to find out, yet all that existing together with that emptiness as magical. That is known as the nature of the mind. Nature of the mind. It's always there. The great spontaneous richness establishment right there. And these natures, that again, I said so many times in the teaching, those who have the book, you can look and see this richness quality of the rupa, or the awareness of nature, and emptiness is completely in a union, great union status. When you discover that nature and find out exactly it is, that is known as view of Dzogchen. That is the view of Dzogchen. So Dzogchen view is not the negation status, not the existing solid views. It's beyond the conceptions, beyond of the imagination of this present our mundane thoughts. And for that reason, here His Holiness Dongyal Rinpoche takes quotations. Great Master Guru Pema Samba said, the beyond the conception is the nature of the Dharmakaya. That is nature of Dharmakaya. So that means Dharmakaya is right with us, right with you. When you discover that nature with great joy, great appreciation, be relaxed with that. And for that reason, he said, oh, how fortunate we are here. His Master, His Holiness Dongyal Rinpoche said, how fortunate we are that we immediately can discover, connect to the Buddha, Samana Buddha right now. How wonderful. All the gracious teacher, Buddha Shakyamuni teaching, whatever he give the teaching, often known as the 84,000 teachings of the Buddhas, the essence, what Buddha give the teaching, the essence of the purpose of that is to discover the nature of the mind. All the teaching that what he gave at 84,000 strands or teachings is really the purpose is to discover of this true nature. And that, as well as all those Dzogchen Tantra's teaching, there's 6,400,000 Dzogchen teachings in it mentioned. This essence of this, to just explaining, to pointing out, to showing to the nature exactly as it is with this nature with us. That is really the essence and purposes. So therefore, should be so happy and should be grateful to discovering. Now with confidence, we should meditate. We should practice. And now meditation. So once you discover that view with confidence, view with clarity, then is the meditation. Meditation means what? Meditation means maintaining what you discovered, keeping up that. That's what really the meditation. There's nothing else meditate beside that to keep up the nature or keep up what you discovered. That is meditation. To do meditation, then is some instructions, and many of you know already. Those start with such as really with the beautiful attitude, as we said, joy and appreciation. Also reflecting where things are. Those are known as four points that trains the mind. Many of you know those. Firstly is precious human lives, and then impermanent, as well as samsara has challenge and difficulties. Cause and effect are inevitable. Those kind of reflecting mind on those qualities, that kind of reflecting. And so what it does, it makes our heart is more softer, more tender, more settled. It really brings more kind of awareness of the way things are. So have those kind of thought. And then also really bring more connection to the Buddha, all the lineage masters. What we're discussing here today is the teaching of the lineages. Buddha Shakyamuni or the Buddha Samana taught these teachings, but is continually preserved by all those lineage masters and lineage practitioners, really kept until now. So more kind of also grateful the keeping alive of the wisdom lineage of love and compassion. So more kind of closeness feeling, more appreciation. Those are some also known as devotions and joy and appreciation. Have those thoughts. And when we have the joy and the appreciation, more devotions, then is the practice not just become intellectual level, is really start sinking to the heart, not just only hovering on the brain, is coming down to the heart and begin to really observing that. And we like to become that, so be more joy and appreciations and devotions. And then same time, very beautiful really, again, Bodhicitta thought for all living beings. Really feel that, though reality level, everything is like kind of dream. But yet, we all sentient beings, so much grasping, clinging, holding, we are always going through so many difficulties, challenges, and kind of feel compassion, loving kindness thought for all living beings. And what I'm doing today, may that really become the powerful tool to remove in a clear way all the difficult troubles, bring joy and peace, and discover their innate nature. Sincerely wish that from the heart and the mind. And then with the good postures, if you can do the physical postures with good posture, and then meditate. Then relax on that what you discovered, exactly in that natural state of mind, and relax in this. And then when you're relaxing, how you meditate? Here, Great Master, His Holiness Dongyal Rinpoche said here, when you meditate, there's nothing to meditate with to hold him. Dzogchen meditation is simply relaxing in the natural status. There's nothing to hold, nothing to be focused. Relaxing and resting and reflecting. What is it called? R and R. R and R and R. Rest, relax, and reflect. That's it. Just relax. Relax. And many times, I'm always in the teachings, relaxing all the six senses. Eye senses, ear senses, nose senses, and tongue senses, body senses, and mind senses. Relax. That is called Tsodok Lokparhyos. Relax, ease, all that. Don't build up any tensions to any places, anywhere. Just simply relax. And relaxing the mind and the nature, exactly as it is. Nothing to. And we try to do something. That is a conception. Conception is not meditation of Dzogchen. So, therefore, it's just simply relaxing. and relaxing on the natural status. Status without distracted. So if distracted, then we lose the natural status. How is distracted? We distracted by the different conceptions or different habit patterns. Then we lose the quality of the meditation of Dzogchen. We lose. So for that reason, often said, have the mindfulness, distant in the mindfulness, kind of keep watching by the mindfulness, simply relaxing. And there's nothing to do with forceful meditations. Yet not let distracted. Keep continuous. And then occasionally, in the many great masters said, even during that your meditation, occasionally to reactivate the clarity of the mind, clarity of the rupa, the awareness, bring more compassion, kind of feel power of let compassion come from the ordinary nature of the mind and let that shine and spread it to all the living beings. Really feel great compassion for a few seconds or 5 seconds, whatever. Really feel. And after that, also let that absorb back and liberate it back to the rupa or the true awareness status. Relax on natural status. Then continue again meditate. If you do that, what it will refresh our continuation meditations. It will refresh our meditation. Continue meditate. And here in the Dzogchen teaching, in here said, and whatever thought arisings, also when we relax, that means we relax on the natural state as it is, and we don't stop in the thoughts and not following the thoughts. Stopping the thought is again dualities. Thought is the power of the rupa, display of the rupa, all these conceptions. So we should not stop in the thought, nor we should not follow the thoughts. Thought. What that technique is in the Dzogchen teaching named let it come. So let it come thoughts. Relaxing, let it come. And also not going to regulate that thoughts when it comes. That is known as in the teaching, let it go. Let it go. So let it come, let it go. But we should remain in that present status. Always relaxing in the present status. If we able to keep that way, that is known as then Dzogchen meditations. Exactly. And then then that thought, the arising thought is not conceptions actually. It's a display of the wisdoms arising. It has no any kind of any effects at all. It's arising as wisdom appeared as wisdoms and left as wisdoms if we don't hold and grasping on that. All is just like really merged, come from the wisdom and liberate or went to the state of the state of the awareness or the emptiness. So that is really what it is again. That is really the meditation. And again here he's only Dongyal said once again to kind of like make sure clear to recognize of the one's own precious awareness states. Once again here. And that is said here. Again to pointing out of the exactly nature of the rupa or the nature of the mind or the dharmakaya nature of the mind. And is said that let's stay ourselves on the present state of the way what we are, and let past thought is now past conception is past, and the future conception not yet arrived, and right look to that present status. That present state of our awareness is the origin and nature. So that means is the past thought are past conceptions past, and future perception not yet, or thought are not arrived, and write this present moment thought. Look to that moment thought. What we see. There's nothing to hold, nothing to be see, kind of like pinpoint or identify. That is known as the fresh, naked awareness. That is really the original. The instant original mind is the original nature of the mind. That is the rupa status. That is the origin, awareness. There's nothing more fresh, naked than that. That is the origin. When we discover that nature, it is then the nature of the Dharmakaya. That is what really we realize. That is what we found. That is what we continually maintain. That. So that is really the exactly actually view of this meditation or view, and that is what you are really keeping up the meditation. Now, when moment you recognize that nature, and again a conception a thought will come. But if we carried by that thought, then is it like duality? It is the samsara thought. So it really we carried with that thought. But the moment we recognize the thought are come, arising thought, that moment let it go. Let it go. That is known as the liberating the thoughts. Liberating all thoughts. So when they liberated, where it went? It went naturally to where it come from. And it came from Dharmakaya status. So all that, it just immediately, instantly dissolved to that nature status. Nature status, immediately. And so that is really the Dharmakaya. And for that reason here, Great Master Garab Dorji said, the nature of the mind is pure from the beginning. Beginning, it is the origin nature. When it is arising instantly, when the thought arises instantly, that moment it is Rupa or the awareness is shining as it is. When you let it go in that way, as it comes, let it go, then it is really Dharmakaya nature. Discovering that nature is like discovering the wish-fulfilling gem from the ocean. That's what the great Master Garab Dorji said that. So that is really how we when Dzogchen meditation is meditated. Now, when we meditate Dzogchen, and as that can apply what is called liberating the thoughts. This liberating thought is how we're going to keep the quality of the meditation in a very as it is. That is known as liberating the thought. So now, generally, when we are looking to the nature of the mind, is as is mentioned, the alien is pure from the beginning. It is already liberated. Therefore, in the teaching said there is four liberations. It is originally liberated, it self-liberated, nakedly liberated, and liberated free from any extremes. Liberated from the extremes. That is what the rupa. I'm using rupa, which is Tibetan word, and in English, I think awareness. Awareness or the rupa is originally in that nature status. This full liberated status. This full liberated state is always applied during the meditation as well as during the post-meditation. We continually liberate it. Liberation here didn't mean as subject and object levels. And it means naturally liberated. Means naturally it is not diluted by the dualities and negative emotions. It is natural that. And therefore it's called liberated. How is naturally liberated? First is, I said 4 liberations. The originally liberated, naked liberated, self-liberated, and liberated from the extremes. Extremes. That referring to this rupa or the awareness. First, if we think of this originally liberated, that mentioned in the teaching so many times, and I mentioned too. This originally liberated means this rupa is never diluted by any emotions, any negativities. That means rupa or the awareness is not diluted by any samsara, like qualities, or samsara, by samsara. It is not diluted by the emotions such as ignorance, attachments, angers, hated thoughts, jealous. Rupa is never diluted, or the awareness is never diluted. That. So it originally is really pure. Rupa is never in that category, never defected. Then how this rupa is? Always in the teaching said, rupa is always been as 3 kaya states or 3 wisdoms. It's 3 wisdoms. Wisdom of the Dharmakaya, wisdom of the Sambhokaya, and wisdom of the Nirmakayas. It's always been. It's pure, pristine, as like billion suns. Always clear. That is how it's pure from the beginning. It's originally clean. It is always. This is the rupa is. That means rupa means your mind, nature of the mind, and my nature of the mind. Is always in that vacant status. So therefore, samsara's qualities, samsara never defected to this nature. It's originally. And what is the wisdom of the Dharmakaya, wisdom of the Sambhokaya, wisdom of the Nirmakaya? If I say simply, and I'm sure many of you know, it's loving kindness, compassion, wisdoms, love and compassion, wisdom. That's what the gracious teacher Buddha Shakyamuni pointed so many times. Love and compassion, wisdom of the Buddha has no boundaries, no limitations, and no any kind of like partialities. It's pervasive. That is what is wisdom qualities. Are pure from the beginning. It's just a pure. It's originally liberated. So that is the pristine our awareness. Your nature of the mind and my nature of the mind. In that status. Always. For that reason, it is known as the originally liberated. It's not something that is not liberated. We're trying to liberate or trying to make this better. It's originally liberated. Then, Rupa is known as like nakedly liberated. Naked liberated. Naked liberated means whatever the emotion comes, whatever the conception comes, thought comes, it instantly it is liberated if we don't hold. Instantly it went. Where it went? To this 3 kaya state or Dharmakaya status. Where that come from? From the Dharmakaya. Thought came from Dharmakaya. All those thoughts. So it come from the Rupa. It's hovering in the Rupa. It went back to the Rupa. It's naked, fresh. Naked is a metaphor in the Dzogchen teaching used, means fresh. It's a fresh. Come as fresh as a wisdom. It's been as a fresh as a wisdom. It merged back fresh as wisdom, never diluted, never kind of devalued. It's just really fresh, naked. And also that means also means is instantly liberated. There's no actually the partition of the times. When it arises, if we don't grasp and hold that, instantly it is merged back to the Rupa status. That very moment, there is no time divisions. Instantly is that. All merged, everything. So this is nakedly liberated. Naked. And then the next one is self-liberated. That means Dzogchen practitioners, when they're meditating or when they engage in the post-meditation, they don't have to have any other technologies or the antidotes to solve the problems. It will be liberated by itself, instantly, by itself, that really very moment. Rupa, it liberated by itself. We don't need any other antidotes to resolve that. It's by itself liberated. Many times teaching mentioned, such as snake release its own ties, or knots, its own knots. Snake release its own knots, or writing letter in the waters. Writing the letter in the waters, instantly absorbed back to that natural state. Those are known as self-liberators. These techniques are actually also applied, as I said, in the post-meditation. Not just only during the meditation, consumption comes. Post-meditation, we could be engaging with many kind of environments, but to keeping up our own awareness and not kind of knocked down by the different the occurrence, and then instantly, moment of anything kind of happening or moment any reactions are coming, instead of following the conceptions, looking to our own mind, looking to our own Rupa status. And we do that, instantly really liberated its own natural status. So liberating all that emotions, whatever arises, instantly arise naturally and instantly dissolved and merged back. So that is known as the self-liberated techniques. Then the fourth one is Rupa is free from any extremes. That means Rupa is never caught any boundaries of the existing, or again I'm using Rupa, but awareness of the Rupa. Rupa is not caught any boundaries of the existing, non-existing. It is out of that dogmas. And existing, non-existing, neither and either's, or yes or no. Any of those fabrications. This is how the nature is naturally liberated, is from all these extremes. This is what the nature of the Rupa is. So relaxing this nature state as it is. And that is known as then meditating. Meditating and continually maintaining any practices. As I said, then occasionally or during those meditations, bring up more really compassion, loving kindness thoughts for a few seconds. And occasionally also bring more devotions, joy and appreciations, kind of acknowledging how fortunate we are, how fortunate I am, one of the beautiful beings and fortunate beings on this planet is. Kind of having those beautiful really appreciation, joyful attitude, thoughts, and just for a few seconds, and again let that then merge back to the natural status. Those all in the teaching said it will help to reactivating, refreshing the practices. So those are like the nature of the rupa. Now, when you continue meditating and practices, and during the meditation here, his only Dongyal said what are during the meditation, what are the obstacles? Those are known as the dullness mind or very scattered mind. Those are the kind of the principal obstacles or errors and mistakes of the meditations. So generally, there is 5 meditation errors in the teaching, often named. That is not just a Dzogchen meditation. Any other practice in meditation, there is 5 different errors. And those are known as, if I listed first 5 of those, and then kind of go briefly over that. First is laziness. Second is forgetful. Third is dullness and scattered mind. And fourth is too forceful. Fifth is too loose. Those 5 are the errors of the any practices, and then particularly also Dzogchen practices. First is the laziness. Laziness is that then, of course, always obstacles. And those laziness are named in the teaching, those known as the laziness of the bad habit patterns, and laziness of the self-blamings, and then laziness of the sloppy lazinesses. So those are 3 lazinesses. Whatever it is, it will disturb the practices. What is? And this generally, laziness is, what laziness is? Nature of laziness means don't have joy, lack of joy. That is really the principle, kind of like. When we don't have the joy, then this, the laziness, any of those can arises. So therefore, for really joyful effort is very important. Generally, that's why, for example, in the Buddha's teaching, 6 paramatas, 4th paramata is joyful effort. Great Master Chandrakirti said in his teaching, said the joyful effort is the feet of the all paramatas. Feet. Like joyful effort is like feet. So that means joyful effort is feet of the generous paramata. Joyful effort is the feet of the morality. Joyful effort is the feet of the patient paramata and meditation and wisdoms. So the joyful effort is so important. Therefore, first is joy. Joy is that, again, this we have to think. Meditation, of course, we have so many beautiful activities to do in our life, so many important things. But among all the activities, this practice is also something really important. Practice is doing something with our heart. Practice is doing something also if we believe in the future next lives. We doing this. And also practice not just only for my own self, but practice according to Mahayana for all the living beings. So there's many reasons, beautiful reasons doing the practices. Then also practice is improving ourselves, glorifying our beautiful nature. And this also is so special, so beautiful. And also time is not always going to wait for us. Time is also precious. In our life in this world, how long we're going to stay? And so this time is precious, life is precious, and all the practice is precious. Every precious kind of like all came together with us but right now. Therefore, with great joy and appreciation, I really like to do also some practice, have some degree of the determination, courage, and commitment, and inspirations, and really think kind of like what is known as sometimes think globally, act locally. So practice is acting locally, really thinking of globally, more than globally, all the living beings, and practicing that. Something really doing beautiful, making meaning for our lives, have so much joy, appreciation. Really, this is kind of, I'm going to make this meaning for my life, along with all my other activities, but I'm like to do this, kind of have some duty. And then purpose of the practice, benefit of practice, is obviously, when we practice and meditate, it really brings immediately, or it brings calm, peaceful, more kind of like feels really kind of feel calm and peace in our mind, in our bodies. But midst of so many conceptions, so many thoughts, and thoughts are kind of crossfire, like back and forth, but if we relax and meditate a short time, it's just like it's kind of like in the midst of the heat, in the big kind of humid heat. If we drink one glass of the what's called the iced coffees, iced coffee, you feel sitting under the umbrella and sitting, you feel relaxed. That is really like practice is like that. I'm not kidding. It's just very. And therefore, everyone talking now mindful practices. Even in the airport, there is small chapels or something. The practice. See the benefit, the power is. It's not just only kind of those kind of religious people talking. It's really the mainstream of the business world talking that mindful relaxation is so important. But now we are not just doing that for only ourselves. According to Mahayana, in the Vajrayana Buddhism, thinking of all the living beings, really doing this. Something so we're contributing something beautiful things for all the beings, the environmental level and many levels. So it's therefore joy with joy, and just like every day, for example, like half an hour or 20 minutes, 15 minutes, or whatever you can spend that more time, which is really good that. Then you feel something good that we did that. So therefore, that will kind of remove the laziness, go away, laziness. Next one is known as the forgetfuls. That forgetful means remembering the instructions, remembering of your practices, your practice in meditation exactly as you do, remembering your time schedules. You remember it. That means keeping more kind of radar, kind of all your activity of the days. Oh, I have to do this and that, but I have to do this practice too. Meditation, I'm going to do that. So kind of keeping in the awareness on the spot of this activity of the meditation, and then remembering the instructions, remembering of your commitment, you remember of your connection to the practice of Dharma, and meditating that. So those are known as remember, not forget, not carried forth by all the mundane different chores, and then kind of is completely kind of pushed away the practice on the side and lost that. Then day is gone. Then it's not good. That is known as not forgetfuls. So therefore, bring more awareness, more mindfulness. The next one is then errors of the meditation is known as dullness mind and scattered mind. These two are kind of put in as together. This is slightly different, but this now that is what. For example, you didn't have the laziness. You really you have the joy and appreciations. Also, you didn't miss that opportunity to practice. Didn't forget that, and the instructions did not forget it. So now you're putting practices. Now during the practices what is the two obstacles comes. And those are the dullness mind and the scattered mind. And the dullness mind is, either one is become the obstacles. It will, what it will make obstacle? It will make obstacle of the progress, developing of our realization or practices. It really will kind of, because then it becomes our call it of the meditation or the practices become not so good. Even you're doing 1 hour or 20 minutes, half hour, whatever you practice, if our mind become dullness, if our mind is become very scattered, then it's not very good call it mind. Therefore, we should be very always thoughtful with this mind during the meditation. And that is then, first it is dullness mind. Dullness mind is then, mind is in the very dullness, there's no clarity is coming, it's kind of mind. And then also it will lead, if it's too many dullness, then it kind of lead sleepies. And then we are falling in sleep. Our head is shaking, body is maybe like good postures, but the head is like bumping either side, right side, both side. And then our clarity of the meditation is gone. Then it's not clarity, really. So therefore, re-strengthening, when that happens, re-strengthening your awareness. For those reasons, many times the teaching said, bring more joy, more appreciations, more loving kindness, more compassion thoughts, and more devotion, whatever. Really bring up those thoughts and thinking of all the sentient beings. And maybe if you're practicing, maybe reciting the 4 boundless prayers. May all living beings have the happiness, the cause of happiness. And may all living beings free from sufferings and the cause of sufferings. May every living being have the never separated from the supreme joy, which is without sufferings. May every living being have the great equanimity realization, free from both attachment or to the close ones, rejection to the others, or that kind of those thoughts, not just the chanting, concentrating on the meaning of those words and absorbing that to the heart, that will wake up. Really, it will help to wake up. Or feel strong devotions, joy and appreciation. Think of the beautiful activity what the gracious teacher Buddha Shakyamuni did in his past lives, in the Bodhisattva times, or during his lifetimes. How beautiful, wonderful activities they did. Or the great masters. And think of the great masters, Lungchenpa's activities, what he meditated, how he did. That even he is so poor and so kind of like in the worldly level, he was very poor, but he stayed in the bag, one bag which is like used his own sleeping bag, or in his cushion, all that just one bag in the teaching said. Really, he stayed in the midst of the winter, up in a glacier mountain, maybe 70,000 feet altitude, that level, he stayed and meditated that. And how his courage and commitment. And think of the great master Milarepa, stay in the caves and eating nettles and all those. Really, how wonderful. They did this, how come they discovered that they become great these masters, such as Lungchenpa and the Milarepa. They not just came, they come with Milarepa, come with Lungchenpa, because of their joy and the devotion and the bodhicitta, discovered that such a great realization, really, for all living beings, peace and harmonious, and just to kind of inspire ourselves with those beautiful stories and teachings, and then observe, and then meditate. In the teaching said those really will help to wake up ourselves, and also scattered mind, it will down. When we are scattered mind, what means? Our mind is carried by all the habit patterns and the day activities, or yesterday activity, all our maybe connected kind of activities, our persons, all that carrying with one after another. And our mind is not settled. Our energy or the wind is troubling, completely shaking, and therefore it subsides. And then also kind of in the physical level, exhale. All those thoughts of consumption come, just to kind of bring up that, release that in a kind of long, deep exhales, and looking direct to the skies. Skies, those are always said in the teaching, said it will help to subside the scattered minds. And then kind of let it more bring down consciousness, a little more lower, let it down, let it lower the awareness thoughts, let it lower those. And when we are having dullness, it also raise up the consciousness kind of looking up in the sky, and open the eye widely, and mind merge with the skies. And those really will help in the teaching said, will help to the dullness mind. So that, and so combination, whatever is benefiting, helping, can activate those beautiful thoughts. So that really will help to the dullness mind and the scattered minds. The next two ones are known as very forceful meditation or the practice, kind of with a lot of kind of effort, a lot of endeavors, which is very good. But during the meditation and practice, have to relax. As in the Dzogchen teaching, I mentioned, and you know, relax the body, relax the mind, relax the speech. Really relax, not too much kind of forceful, have to relax. We need strength and courage and commitment, but not forceful. Relax in that. Relax. And also same time, not to lose. And if too lose, then we are always lose, and then kind of habit patterns all can come easily, and then kind of overthrow our meditation practice. Also not to lose. Those are the teachings said, for example, there's a story by, again, during the time of Buddha Shakyamuni. There's a very famous arhata known as Khenpo Tsewang Dongyal. And he's one of the famous arhata. He was born also very rich families. In the teaching said that his family is so rich. He's the only one son. He has many houses for the different seasons. They build beautiful house at the different season. There's so many beautiful, again, according seasonal level, has so many pleasurable objects that he can use, all different, and as well music, dance, and all those things. And himself was very expert on the music instrumental. He's very famous. I'm sure maybe you know those stories too. So, but it's in the teachings, in the Vinaya teaching, Buddha mentioned that. So then when he's grown up, he has every luxuries, every items, everything that time existing. Really, he's one of the wealthiest son of one of the wealthiest families. And the parents loves him. He's the only son. In the Indian tradition or the ancient time, that family son is so important, who will going to keep the family legacy in the future. So therefore, they're so happy and they like to provide everything to him. And every luxury objects, atoms, the existence. So he had that. But yet, when he's grown up or in a youthful time, he's not happy. That pleasure object, whatever, he did not really brought him any pleasures. He's more and more kind of feel not happy. And finally, then all the long story short, then finally he met Buddha. And then Buddha kind of asked to Ananda look after. Buddha told to Ananda will look after him then. So Ananda taught the teachings and meditation practice, and his meditating practices. And then for a long time he did not get any improvements. So Ananda gave the instructions because he was so forceful practices. So then Ananda taught, again, you're so forceful, should not do that, and have to a little bit loose, relax more way. Then he meditated more kind of relaxed way. Again, he fell down more kind of like emotional levels. He did not improve anything. So finally he came to the Buddha. So what to do? I'm not getting any like kind of improvement of my meditation or practices. So then Buddha said, what you are expert when you are in a house, Buddha said. I'm very expert to the musical instruments, he said. Then Buddha said, how that musical instrument, sound of the musical instrument, how it beautiful sound of the music, how it will come by the musical instrument, or how that will come by the musical instrument. If string is too tight, it will come, or string is too loose, it will come. He said, no, neither great teacher is neither of the outcome have to be balanced, not too tight, not too loose. That string will bring the good sound or the music. And then Buddha said, exactly like that. Meditation is like that. Not too tight, not too loose. Keep the balance. Then we'll get the realization. And as he did, Buddha's instruction, he applied that, and soon after he got the realization as arhata. So that is really the instruction. Not too tight, not too loose. Loose, and that way to practice meditation. So those are known as 4 errors of the practices. The practice and the meditation, either ones. And to do this, again, in the teaching said, so what we need is, again, to simplify, again, symbol or another terminology used in the teaching. Teaching said, joyful effort, joy and a joyful effort, mindfulness, consciousness, and balance. These 5 are the very essential of during the meditation and practices. First is important is joy. Joy that will bring the inspired yourself to the practice and do good things. And the second is a joyful effort. Continually keep the rhythm. Continually keep that. Second. Third is mindfulness. Keep remembering of the practice, remembering the instructions, remember of your schedules, and you're kind of keeping up that. Third is consciousness. Consciousness is, if I use another terminology, is mind, thoughtful. Always thoughtful. And brain kind of keep balance. Keep the balance, and we not distract, not carried by, and always thoughtful, and we kind of to ground ourselves onto that. And the fifth is balance, the equanimity, balance. Those are the teachings said. So this is so during all the practices is. Now with those thought, we practice continuous Dzogchen meditation. And the Dzogchen meditation is, again, practice is not just during the meditation, but in here, Great Master, His Holiness said, trying to keep that always. If you're, for example, doing retreat, trying to keep these practices as you kept during the meditation, you kept the continually meditating and maintaining the Dzogchen, but during the also post-meditation, whether you're such as eating, sleeping, walking, keep that awareness, keep that realization, that always. So that means meditation level, post-meditation level, not just completely become 2 different things. Merge the 3 things, meditation and post-meditation. Bring that together. Together, that is so important. Keep that with that. And also that means during the post-meditation, always also thoughtful with our habit patterns. Habit pattern is very strong, and it come easily, arises. So we need, by the thoughtful, really, immediately when it comes, use the technique, the liberating, not carried by that arising emotion, thought, or the habit patterns. You liberate it as soon as possible, as soon as you can. Good practitioners immediately liberated those, whatever the arising emotional thoughts in the post-meditation. Good practitioner. They recognize it. By moment they recognize, immediately they liberate it. There's no more further any disturbance to either sides. And then if not good practitioners, then maybe emotions arise, not, or the habit pattern, emotion, whatever is arises, they then immediately detected, immediately recognized. And that kind of hovered in the mental state or the brain status for a while. But then they gained the mind, that mindfulness. They gained the mindfulness and then liberated. That is known as then also quite good practitioners. Then ordinary persons, when the emotions arise, not practitioners. Then they did not recognize it. Then they follow with the emotions and act with that emotions. Then the disturbance comes. That disturbs the others, that's disturbed the one's own self. And then become the cause of samsara, cause of karmas. That all really merges. So therefore, recognizing, liberating is the measurement of the practitioners in the teaching set. Moment if you recognize immediately you liberated, that is then liberated as it arises, as we said earlier, or as I said earlier, self-liberated, instantly as writing letter in the water. Instantly you liberate. All snake released its own tide, knots immediately released. Those are the good practitioners, immediately liberated. And then if it didn't liberate it, then it becomes the samsara cause. That is known as the karmas, that created. So therefore, in emotions, when they say arising, whatever that is, it is happiness, related to emotions, or related with sadness, or related with kind of like big emotions such as ignorance, attachment, anger, all those strong emotions, whatever it comes, being as practitioners, not let that go far. Immediately or as soon as possible, really liberated that. When you go liberated, here His Holiness Dongyal Rinpoche is saying that immediately look to that nature when the emotions arises, such as happiness or the sadness or the difficulties. Look to that nature. That means when the happiness arises, or great happiness, kind of excitement comes, where is that excitement? What is this nature of the arisement? Immediately looking to that nature. Moment you look to that nature, it is free. There's no existence at all. Immediately liberated. And liberated in the emptiness. So that happiness, that excitement is the emptiness. So you relax in emptiness state of that nature. So it's blended in, completely balanced. And in the same way, if sadness emotion comes, or sadness coming, instead of following up the sadness and turn to this, of course, if there's some problems arise, you have to solve those in common sense level, whatever that is. But individually, on your levels, it's not hovering and disturbing too much. Immediately look to that suffering. Where is that suffering? Who is suffering? Look to the face or the nature of that sufferings. Moment you look to the nature of that sufferings, that moment reach to the state of the emptiness. So that means sadness is empty and happiness is empty. Nature is the same. There's nothing really, that solid existence. So therefore, the moment you discover that nature status, and then relax on that nature state, if you practice and meditate, and then just simply relax and meditate in that status as long as you can. So therefore, should not be carried by the force of any of those emotions, whether those are happiness emotions or sadness emotions. Happiness emotions, if we carried away, that means what? We are attached with that. It's attachment. Deep down is attachment and grasping. Attachment. We carry by the attachment. And sadness emotions are kind of we carried. Then we carried by the force of the hatred or the anger and those emotions. So therefore, we should always not carried by that. Instantly liberated, relax on its own nature status of the emptiness there. And it didn't mean, again, it is like sadness, sufferings, you should not apply to your common sense level, but not so much grasping, not so much clinging, and being as a practitioner of the dzogchens with that kind of, deal with that with more open mind, open heart. Whether it is a happiness, whether it is sadness, deal that. And that will come more wisdoms in the heart and mind, so that you can really deal, you can help to the others, like then all solve those problems more nicely than just kind of carried by the force of the emotions. So those are the like continue teaching teaching here, and then therefore again here he's going to say, whatever the emotion, the disturbance comes, we don't have to apply to any other antidote, as we mentioned earlier, and just again relax on the natural state of that emptiness state. Again, reactivate your emptiness realization and be in that dzogchen state. So that and there's also nothing to give up, or if a negative emotion comes, it's not something that we have to give up and do kind of like some other activities. Moment you look to that negative activities, that or negative emotions, and that moment is an emptiness status. So therefore, immediately it is liberated, and here his own is immediately liberated as snake released its own knots. So therefore, we don't have to do any applied another liberated techniques, and that is the techniques of the Dzogchen meditators, how they continually maintain on that status. And that is my brief talk this morning. And if you have some questions, I will talk short time, and then yes.
We have time for a couple of questions. It'll be more later because we want to be able to go for lunch.
Okay.
Thank you, Rinpoche. I've heard you say in the past, when someone has asked you what we can do about all the negativity in the world and problems with hatred and violence and war and the government and so forth and so on, all these things that we worry about, you have said that really to pray is what you have said to do. And at least I heard you say that once anyway, and it made a big impression on me in terms of that would be sort of really the best thing we could do. And I was thinking about that in relation to what you said this morning about how love and compassion, these qualities, are completely all-pervasive. They're limitless, they're infinite. And so like from a Dzogchen practitioner's point of view, what would be the best? Is there some way that we could sort of use that recognition of the infinity of love and compassion as a way to benefit the world? Or, somehow, how would you do it? I mean, would you still say the best thing you can do is to generate positive thoughts for the world? Or would there be like a Dzogchen level of doing that?
I think I really will say the best way that we can help to the world, all the difficulties, the troubles are going in the world now. These days, I will say two things. One is really the practice and pray. Really pray with a good heart, with bodhicitta. Pray to individually kind of targeted. Also pray those people who have which really pray they have more wisdom, more understanding, wish to them kind of highlight and fill the prisons such as Buddha Shakyamuni, Chereze, or Ngorapema Sambhava, or Tara. Really pray to them while they pray, and they're sending a lot of blessing light to those individuals that also they kind of like their emotions or those their completely clears way, and they're downing good wisdom, good common sense, understanding, respect, and appreciations, and that. And then also pray to all the world. There's so many difficult troubles. If not highlighted to anyone, just really wish that when we pray, practice, and the Tara or the Ngorapema Sambhava from there, sending so many blessing light to all over the world, in everywhere. They just is it is removing all their violence thought, violence activity, self-important, everything. And also it went to all this elements, water, fire, wind, earth, is really balanced, that restore the energy of the earth, the energy of the fire element is really completely restore, refresh in that with those thoughts really pray as much as. So I will say that is really do the pray is very important. According to the teaching, it very benefit that. And the second is those also then during the meditation practice, also it's a bodhicitta. Really wish, like everyone got, like wish that everyone shine their bodhicitta so strongly, beautifully out and benefit to everyone. Really, by my practice, made that benefit to all beings. So, really, bodhicitta, and then Dzogchen meditation. Also, my meditation Dzogchen benefited to all beings. So, I will say, still, by the chanting and the prayers, and the second as well chanting and also meditating on the Dzogchen. So that I think too well, really, I will say is the, I think best to help. And then accordingly, your capabilities, whatever that you can do, also kind of without violence, without disturbances, anything that can help to support in the like mundane levels, also I think it's good as much as you can, according. That's how I will say.
Okay, that's great. And can I ask, in terms of the first point about the prayers, like right now I'm really doing a lot of Tara practice, and so the practice is that I am trying from my heart center, sending out rays of light to all the beings and to all the elements in terms of rebalancing and bringing wisdom and so forth. But just want to just make sure I'm hearing you. Is it really more, well, I mean, I'm sure, of course, that's a good thing to do, but is it important to call upon those people who are really fully enlightened, or they're not people, I guess, at this point, but whatever, the Buddhas, for them to do that too? I'm sure they're trying to do their best already.
I think
it's just
so.
We're not paying attention,
I don't say their office is closed. I think they according to the teaching, their office is open 7 days a week, and 7 days a week, 24 hours in a day. So I think, really, but however, it's good to call to Buddha because when we read the prayers those great master wrote, they always highlight all the Buddha Shakyamuni, Guru Pema Sambha, Tara, and Avalokiteshvara, and all the Buddhas and Bodhisattva. Please help to balance the earth and the fire, water element, and reduce the remove all the troubles of the famines and the disease, weapon troubles. Those really mentioned there. So therefore, also really, if you can highlight and call to those Buddhas, is good. Is good.
Okay, thanks so much.
Okay.
Okay, well, now we're just past noon, so maybe Rinpoche, we can break now, and then we'll come
we
back
can
later.
do after.
We'll have more questions later. But I wanted to say, Dute Che Rinpoche, thank you so much, precious teacher. It's through you that we're able, though many of us have never met Dute Rinpoche or the great Supreme Mahasiddha Padmasambhava, but through you, we are blessed with their blessings. We can feel the lineage coming through you and your teaching, so we're so grateful. Thank you. And I want to thank Lama Lorraine, because she has the very enviable position of being able to be with Rinpoche all the time, and she's like a very fierce mother who really looks after Rinpoche and takes care of him. And then my dear friend Paul Levy, who through him 25 years ago I met Khenpo Tsewang Dongyal and his wonderful late great brother Khenchen Palden-Char Rinpoche. And Paul runs the Padmasambhava Buddhist Center here in Portland and meets on Sunday for practice. And there are flyers at the back for more information of location, how to go there. And then all the other people, my friend Lama Jumpal from Dorji Ling, and then of course Robert Beatty and PIMC, who have afforded this wonderful space for us to have. So now we will take our break. We'll resume the teachings at 3 o'clock. you can stay here if you'd like to eat. There are places in the neighborhood where you can go. I'm not sure of everything, but I've been told just down that way on Duke, or actually more on Woodstock, which runs parallel, there are places where you can get food to eat. Or you can stay here. Just, it is a Dharma center, so everybody be nice and chill. Rinpoche will be in the back, so we don't want to disturb him. And then if you come back at 2 o'clock, the hour before the teaching start, we really would like to maintain noble silence. So, if you need to talk, be outside, and that would be a good time to come and really, like Rinpoche is saying, do the R and R and R. Rest, relax, and reflect, so that we'll be really primed when Rinpoche begins teaching again at 3 o'clock. So thank you all so very much.
Thank you, everyone. As Dennis said, it's true. If you can come back at 2 o'clock, if you can meditate, really come back and meditate, just kind of for about an hour or a half hour, whatever. I think it's really nice. So then, thank you, everyone. Thank you very much. I do again one verse, joint prayers, dedicated merit. Sonam de damje zakwani tumne pedana pamse jegana je balong tukpa sibam zolendo wadu warai sho sanjo simjo Rinpoche machi pana jijo jiba nyamba meba kone kondo pe warai sho. Okay, thank you very much, everyone.